Well, as Twitter takes the unprecedented step of blocking the New York Post's own news account, the president of the advocacy group Less Government is speaking out about Silicon Valley's brutal censorship of conservative voices. One America's Richard Pollack has more from Washington.
And we're very happy to have Seth Moulton, the president of Less Government, with us today. And we're going to talk about Twitter and about Twitter deciding to go and shut down the New York Post because they didn't like the article that they ran. What do you have to say about this? What's your overall view?
It wasn't just the New York Post that got shut down. The Trump campaign official Twitter handle got shut down. The White House press secretary, Kayleigh McEnany's personal Twitter account was shut down, amongst many others. But that in and of itself is the leader of the free world can have himself removed from the two most dominant platforms in the country, which means who's higher in the pecking order, who's higher in the hierarchy of speech and messaging and electoral politics in the year 2020. Twitter and Facebook are above the president of the United States on the food chain, and that's a little disturbing.
The Ayatollah Khomeini in Iran still has his Twitter site up. He can go and communicate.
Yes. You know, you've got Antifa and Black Lives Matter have several accounts that are still up and running. I'm sure you've got Hamas accounts that are still up and running, but you can't have the President of the United States campaign on there. That's a no-go for Twitter and Facebook.
Now, we've learned that there really is sort of a relationship between Democrats, including staffers from Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, and Twitter. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Kamala Harris's former press communications director is now the communications director for Twitter. You've got a bunch of big tech companies, officials on Biden's transition team. It is a revolving door in a phone booth. The job swapping between the Silicon Valley and Democrat politicians.
The Republican National Committee has filed a complaint saying that what Twitter has done by shutting down the Trump campaign, by shutting down the New York Post, by different other Trump administration officials, this is an in-kind contribution to Joe Biden's presidential campain.
I estimated at least in the tens of millions of dollars, probably more than that, of just a gift to the Biden campaign. And really not just the Biden campaign, because you've got the Democrat Party, the entire apparatus, defending this.
In fact, the Panama Papers should never have seen the light of day on Twitter if, in fact, this policy was in effect.
It's the double standard for leftists and Democrats. They get cover where Republicans, we had 4 years of disinformation about Trump-Russia collusion. And that still goes on Twitter today.
There's going to be a Senate subcommittee hearing shortly concerning this whole matter. What is it that needs to happen, not only to Twitter, but all of these social media organizations?
I am so tired of Republicans holding hearings. It's not oversight, it's oversight theater. They have these hearings, they get great little video bits and sound bites from these hearings, and then nobody gets indicted and nobody goes to jail.
What solutions do we see here?
First thing that needs to go is Section 230 for the 1996 Communications Decency Act. That grants these guys blanket immunity from libel, slander, intellectual property theft lawsuits. They're behaving like a publisher, like the New York Times, who can be sued for slander and libel and intellectual property theft.
Seth Moulton, it's always a pleasure to talk to you, unfortunately, on this kind of a subject. But nevertheless, thank you for joining us at One American News.
I hope I'm not constantly associated with bad news. Thank you.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One American News on YouTube. And call your cable provider and kindly demand that One American News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.